Hello and welcome to Karibuni Jikoni. My name is Chef Carol and this is my cooking class. So today I am making couscous and chicken escalope. Chicken escalope, in German it's called Schnitzel. So you have very thin chicken pieces. And for those who know couscous, it's made from wheat. And you don't cook couscous. So what you do with couscous is you put in hot water. When I say water, I don't just put in water. I make my, my broth. And in this broth, I put in, spices. You'll have the recipe at the end of the video, so you can see what I put inside. So my broth has been cooking for about 1.5 hours. So I used chicken broth because I had it, but otherwise you can always use water. And how much from the couscous and the water, the proportion, I have 240 grams of couscous, and I'll be putting 400 milliliters of my broth. So if you want to see, I have onions in, I have bay leaves and cardamom and cinnamon. It's really, you can smell it. Ginger and also garlic. So I need 400 ml. That's it. And now I put my water into the couscous and not the other way around. So what I now do is I cover my couscous with aluminum foil and let it rest for about 10 minutes. So that's all you need for couscous. You don't need to cook couscous. Otherwise, it will be like porridge. So my plate is off. That's very important so that it doesn't cook from the bottom. And now I'll prepare my escalope. What I normally do is every time I work with chicken, I marinate my chicken first. So it's been in the fridge overnight. And what I put in my marinade, onions and rosemary, ginger and fresh ginger and fresh garlic. You don't put salt when you're marinating your meat. And that is because your meat will be dry, will get dry. Salt takes out water out of your meat. And if you leave it overnight with salt, it will be dry. So I'll take 2 or 3 nice pieces of chicken. So that should be enough. And what I do is, if they're still a bit thick, because for escalopes, it's good when you have the meat as thin as possible. So I'll just flatten the chicken a bit. I'm using chicken breast. So you already can smell the marinade. So in the marinade, I put lemon juice, some white wine if you have. Doesn't necessarily have to. And then I put in, like I said, rosemary and onions. So this one I can't use it anymore, so I have to do away with it. And then I put some spices onto my chicken. Some pepper. And then turn the other side and do the same. Salt. And pepper. So when I have salt and pepper, so I'll put my couscous to the side. I don't need that at the moment. So what I do now is I cover my chicken in breadcrumbs. So I have prepared my breadcrumbs. I have flour, wheat flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs. And what I do with my breadcrumbs, because I don't want my breadcrumbs to be, boring. So I mix with some herbs. So I put some basil, dry herbs, basil, thyme, and some cayenne pepper. You can also put salt and pepper in, but I already have spiced my chicken, so I don't need that. And your breadcrumbs will be tasty. So in the meantime, I can put on my pan, put some oil in, and put enough oil in. And then the first one I put in the flour. Make sure you shake off the flour so that you don't have so much of it into your eggs. And the last one. So then you turn it to cover it well with the egg. And then so I'm finished with the flour. So make sure you cover your chicken well with the breadcrumbs. You can pat a bit. Have a plate. And the next one as well. And then always shake off. After patting, it's well covered in breadcrumbs. And then you shake so that the rest can fall off. And these are something that is eaten a lot here in Germany. They do, or we do, either chicken or pork. It's called chicken Hähnchenschnitzel or Schweineschnitzel. Schwein is pork. So after using, like I always say, after using a chopping board with raw meat, especially chicken, you have to clean it or take a new one. So I'll take a new one. Clean your surface. Always clean your surface to have a clean working surface. So that's table. And now you have your pan has to be really hot. So you put in the oil when the pan is hot, and then you reduce the heat. That way you get a brown crusty, you know, from the breadcrumbs, and it doesn't burn. So you don't leave the heat on high for a long time. Now I have, before I do that, I'll check on my couscous and loosen it a bit. You see, it has already increased in volume. And it has a very nice aroma. So I'll still leave it covered now that I've loosened it. And when you're doing something like this with hot water, don't use plastic bowls, because the plastic bowls get hot, and your couscous will be from the bottom. It will hold together. So metal regulates the heat. So you better always have something metallic or glass. It does well too. Let me just cover it for another 2 minutes. And during this time, I will put in my meat. So I'll just wait. Oh yeah, I see that my oil is hot. Yeah, I will have to have that sizzling sound. And just put in some good oil so that the breadcrumbs don't hold at the bottom of the pan. That's very important. And now it's time to reduce the heat. Reduce the heat and let the sides, cook slowly. You don't want your breadcrumbs to burn. You want them to be nice and brown, but also the meat to be cooked from inside. So, and when you make your broth for couscous, you can leave it, after you sieve it, you can leave it in the fridge for about a week. It will be good for a week. And couscous is a very easy dish to make. Oh, that looks good. Nice and brown. Because you don't, it's made within 10-15 minutes, you have your couscous ready. And what you can do is you can eat couscous cold, or you can eat your couscous hot. So what I do is I like warm couscous, not cold, not hot, just a bit warm, and I mixed with some vegetables. So that's what I'll do now. So my couscous is already done. Now let me just put all of it. Now just reduce the heat completely, almost completely. And what I've prepared is some bell pepper red to have some nice color and that crunchy from the bell pepper. I'll just put all of it. And the thing I like also in my couscous are spring onions, some chives, and during summer I use a lot of mint, because mint gives your dishes some freshness, and couscous goes very well with mint. So just some thin stripes of couscous. Don't do a lot of it. I had 6 leaves because couscous is also very strong, so it could overpower everything else if you put a lot of it. And then I'll put in some oil and some lemon juice. So let me see how my escalope, oh yeah, that's beautiful, it's really looking good. Now I'll just have it sizzling a bit, and I mix using 2 spoons. So you can see it has a nice color. And I had put in enough salt into my broth, but you also have to taste it because you put in some vegetables to see if it's got enough spices. Yeah, I'll just put in some salt and a bit of cayenne pepper too. So, and that is my warm couscous salad, and I'll now serve it with the escalope. So it's always better to have some roll where you can remove extra oil, just a bit. So now it's time to serve, and I'll just take some nice plates. So what I like using, which also makes you know, your work easier and looks good, is serving your dishes something like rice or couscous with such forms. So you can have a round one, you can have square one, you can have one like this, and you just put in your couscous. Make sure your plate remains clean. And the good thing about them is that you can really form them nicely. So I leave it like that and take my escalope. So here we are. So my escalope I will garnish with a bit of lemon, something green, something red, like always. You know, it's makes your plate look beautiful. And now it's time to, you just pull that way, and here you are. And that looks beautiful. It's an easy way of presenting your food. So you can, of course, garnish it a bit with a bit of spring onions. Just let them fall around. And here, you don't even need a sauce. You can eat, you can, press some lemon on your escalope and you'll be finished. So here is my chicken escalope with couscous vegetable salad. I wish you lots of fun while cooking with my recipes. Send me some photos. Let me see how you did. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Press that button so that you can see more of my videos. And I'll see you next time on my cooking class. Bye-bye for now and stay safe.